Any updates on the Harvard partnership with the Berkman Klein Center? We do not have a partnership with Harvard. It's very difficult, if possible at all, to have Harvard partner with you. You can give them money as a donation, and I believe the foundation did do that, or at the very least intended to do that. But even then, they tend to have a huge ego attached to it, which is why my organization, Input Output, has never given money to Harvard or any of these Ivy League schools. We consider Cornell, for example. They told us to pound sand. Our money wasn't good enough for them. So we went and built the largest cryptocurrency research center in the world at University of Edinburgh, or at least in all of the UK. And by publication and citation volume, it's the most productive research center in the world for cryptocurrencies. And I believe by peer review, it's also the most productive. Cornell could have had that, but our money wasn't good enough for them. So you know, it's difficult dealing with Ivy League schools. They don't need you because they have gigantic endowments. They have the prestige. They have feedstock of endless amounts of brilliant students, and they will always have great publication output. And when you go there, you just take a number and then you deal with the bureaucracy, and then occasionally student politics turn against you. And then if you're labeled inconvenient, you get pushed out, no matter what you've accomplished and how many names you have on the buildings. So it's much, 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 much better to build relationships and partnerships with tier 2 organizations that are hungry, up and coming, and want to build a brand and a reputation, because they're willing to work with you as a partner and realize that you are providing jobs for their students when they graduate, and they realize that you're providing publication opportunities for their students and professors so that they can get publications and sculpt the growth of an emerging industry and field. And so this is why we love, for example, working at the University of Wyoming. This is why we love working at the University of Athens, why we love working with Edinburgh. These are universities that we've never had administrative or bureaucratic problems with. Occasionally, there's some things we have to negotiate and figure out, but it's easy and it makes sense. And we don't have difficult phone calls. It's more of a question about priorities. It's more of a question about, well, are we going to fund these graduate students or not? Or how do we get this person here? Can we open up a postdoc for this? And then what value are we providing? It's like, well, we're hiring people. We're doing industrial research. We're bringing some of the brightest minds in the world to sit and work on some of the hardest problems. In a lot of cases, we do a lot of interinstitutional publications, like our game theory research is done out of Oxford. And that's directly collaborating with our people in Edinburgh. So it means the graduate students at that university get to work with people at Oxford. That's an amazing opportunity, and it's a rare opportunity for someone so young in their academic career to work on things that have real life value, be very meaningful, and to have these interinstitutional, interdisciplinary papers which have a high probability of being accepted for peer review. And all the research is open source and it's usable by the entire world. And oftentimes it's cited by everybody. Our Ouroboros paper, I think, cited more than 800 times. So, you know, that's the way we look at these things. And that's why I don't tend to build very strong relationships with those centers of excellence, because I don't think they are. I think that the research they do is quite strong and quite good. And there's a lot of brilliant people there, but you can find brilliant people anywhere. And you need the right culture that's sustainable and it's going to work well. That said, we do have people on the other side who do work in there. And like Nathan Kaiser, for example, the chairman of the Cardano Foundation, is a fellow at the Berkman Klein Center, and he does very good work there. And there are other people we talk with, and we like working with them. They're very nice. Berkman Klein in particular isn't quite like Harvard. It's like the Harvard extension in that they're much more open, accessible, and independent from the normal Harvard bureaucracy. So they're kind of the rebels within the organization. So it is a lot of fun to work with them in that respect, where and when it makes sense and it's possible. And when we find things, we do things. But my personal view and why our company puts its money where it does is that there's better value elsewhere. Also, especially if you're investing in the frontier, you usually can get states to match funds. That's what happened in Wyoming. We put in $500,000 and magically it turned into 1.3 million. It would be the opposite direction if we gave money to Harvard. So how would you rather me spend project capital? Places where it turns into $2 or $3 for every dollar we spend, or places where it turns into 40 cents or 30 cents, and the rest of it goes to gender studies? I think it makes a lot more sense to spend it where it has the highest impact. But, reasonable people can disagree. And, that Cornell group that did want to take our money has been also one of the most productive groups around. They created Snow White. They published Avalanche. Ava has now come out of that group. There's some very good people there, and I have a lot of respect for the research that they do.